Hi Judy, welcome to the Community Living Golf Tournament. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through, put you back in your dress position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. Now, your spine is straight and on a tilt, looks great. Legs come down in a nicely unlocked position, fabulous. Unfortunately, you're holding your arms out in front of you a little too far, and the club works down to the ball. So all we really need to do is keep your spine in the exact same position it is, as well as the legs. But we would like to hang your arms down so your hands get a little closer to your thighs and you increase the angle relationship between your arms and your golf club. So really moving you from this yellow position whereby you're pronating and or holding your arms up into here. Okay? Now the other thing I can see from here, although we do look at grips from face on, but I'm just going to talk about this right now, your right hand grip is too strong. So your right hand grip is rotated too far underneath the golf club. Strong doesn't refer to the pressure applying to the club, it's the position. So you don't really have a trigger finger. You really haven't nestled your hands together. Club isn't in your fingers. You've rotated underneath, and it's considered too strong because what it's going to do is it's going to want to close the club face throughout your golf swing. So looking at your grip is a very important thing to do, and when you improve your grip, then you can improve that hanging position with your arms and let the club work out to the ball. The other thing a proper grip does for you is going to allow you to create proper wrist hinge. So we may see that you might struggle a little bit with creating wrist hinge during your backswing just because of this strong grip. Now, next thing we can look at from here is your alignment. Your feet are, let me actually just clear that off and change the lines. Your feet are running in this direction here, and theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera will have an appearance of converging. You're set up pretty much right down the center of the fairway, so that looks fantastic as well. At this point in time, what we're going to do is let's do a split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. And we've got some color-coded lines up on the screen that are here just as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. So you can see you and her have the exact same postures, but look how her arms are hanging a little better, hands are a little closer to the thighs, and there's more angle relationship between the arms and the golf club. Okay, so that's first and foremost what we'd like to do. So if that was the case, your golf club would probably be a little bit more on that angle. So I'm going to put that up there just because as we take a look at the golf swing, we don't want to look at the swing based on an artificial line. We want to look at based on actually where it should be. So when we take a look at the golf swing, simply put, we initiate our takeaway by creating good shoulder rotation, drawing the arms and hands back as well as the golf club. And as the golf club comes back, it's going to come back directly along this red line. So that means the club swinging back on proper plane. As she continues to come back a little further here, we're going to incorporate some wrist hinge into play, which allows her to transition the club from below to above her hands. And then we're going to work the club from red up to yellow. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we're going to have the left arm on the yellow line. Club shaft's going to be within the blue-yellow V zone. We're going to have full shoulder rotation, and we're going to do all this about a very stable right leg, keeping the weight on the inside part of our right foot. So with you as you initiate your takeaway, you draw your hands back beautifully. Your shoulders are turning, but your strong grip is keeping the club face closed, and you're not getting any wrist hinge into play. Wrist hinge is very, very important in golf swing. One, it creates club travel, and two, it creates power. So think about throwing a ball without having cocked your wrists. You'd be shot putting the ball. There would be no speed. So the same principle applies here when we're bringing the club back. So as you continue to come back, still no wrist hinge, still no wrist hinge, still no. And right about here, you actually start to incorporate a little bit with your left hand. So your left hand sort of taken over a little bit, disregarding the fact that your grip is strong with your right hand, and you're actually getting some wrist cock late in the golf swing. So that's fantastic. Very nicely done. When you're finally at the top of your backswing, You're in a beautiful position here. You've rotated your shoulders. Your arm geometry is fantastic relative to your core. Left arm's pretty much situated on the yellow line. Your golf club's in really good position to your arms. You got a stable right side. I mean, you're in a really good position here. So the reality is, if you only improved your hanging position with your arms at address and your grip and made this backswing, with the exception of maybe being just a little bit more upright, you're pretty much in an ideal position right here. Now, as we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire our knees and our hips to the target. We want to unwind our core, and we want to fire our hands. And in doing so, we want to bring the golf club from yellow back down on top of red. And that's exactly what we see here with Chela Choi. Her golf club is returned back to plane. The other thing we want to observe is the relationship between the lead form and the golf club. And I refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind her hands coming into the hitting zone. This is referred to as retaining the angle. And this is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in the golf swing, let alone getting the club to return back to plane, as we already pointed out, which also allows us to hit the ball straight. So she's in a power position that is also going to allow her to hit the ball straight in accordance to her alignment. Now with you create your transition into the ball. Hands look like they come a little over the top, meaning your hands push, instead of dropping, they go down yellow on a diagonal. And that's an over the top move. So your feet and knees are working, your core is working, your hands are firing. You came over the top a little. Yeah, you definitely came over the top. So at this point in time, I mean, we can look at your lead form and we can look at your club and we can say, hey, you know what, you got your backwards check mark. So creating some power in your golf swing is not going to be an issue. But that over the top move has caused your arms to separate out away from your core. The reality is that your hands right now, instead of being way out over here, they should be back over here somewhere. And then the angle of that golf club would be working back over, whoop, sorry, let me undo that. That's the wrong, clear that, there we go. The angle of your golf club would be back over here as such, at 34 degrees. So see the shaft angle? Your shaft angle right now is here at 48. Your hand should be back in that other yellow circle, and then the shaft angle will be working back here at about 34. Well, let's see what Chela's at. Chela's at 36. Yeah, so you guys would be mirror imaging each other, and then your club head would be on plane over here. Okay, and you'd be perfect. So unfortunately, you made an over the top move. You're coming into the ball too steep, and therefore the club is going to be eventually attacking the ball from what's referred to as outside to inside. So if we track Chela Choi come into the ball, the reality is the golf club is supposed to come into the ball directly from the red line. She actually drops the club a little bit underneath the red line, so she's actually attacking the ball a little bit from the inside. The only danger with that is that we might block the ball out to the right if the club face doesn't square up. Okay? But it's so minimal right now that she's only going to block the ball a little right, and then she probably imparts some right to left spin. The ball draws a hair and everything's perfect. With you, the club, oh wow, you did a great job hanging on there. Wow, that's impressive. So right there, I anticipated the golf club to sort of move over to here, and you kept it right there. So that's phenomenal. That's really, really good. Let's go to the next frame. So you know what? Your internal athletic ability understands that this is where the club has to be to have power. So you finally got the club to hit the plane line. If we sort of connect the dots, the problem is it hits the plane line way, way too late. It's not hitting the plane line until down here, where Chela Choi is hitting the plane line way back up here, right? So two totally different areas at which we're hitting that plane line. So let's continue to come into the golf ball here. So you know what? You hung on so much that you're really not going to be attacking the ball all that far from the outside. So that's fabulous. So when Chela Choi comes in the ball from on plane, the club is inside the ball. It expands out, makes contact, and moves through on a nice natural subtle arc. So this is what's going to allow her to hit a straight golf shot in accordance to her alignment, assuming that the club face squares up via having a good grip. Your club, it's not inside the ball, it's directly behind, and then it probably now drops down and across a bit. There we go, yeah. So now it's dropping down and across. So it's moving very aggressively in that direction. So the issue here is if the club face squares up to that, very simply put, then we're going to pull the ball in that direction. If we also release the club to that path, not only would we hit the ball in that direction, but then we'd hit a pull draw or a pull hook. If we leave the club face open to that path, the ball won't start as far left, then it has left to right spin and it will slice. And if we time it okay, it'll sort of get out here towards blue, and then you'll just probably hit a little bit of a fade. Now, because your club is moving so aggressively across, the problem is you've hit the toe of the club and your ball darts out over here. The other thing I want to point out through impact, though, is that even though your arms are really trying, even though you create an over-the-top move and then you really fight to keep the club head behind you, the problem is we don't have any lateral shift to the left. We're not moving off the right foot to the left side. And you're hitting the ball all on your right foot right now. So you can see at impact here, you're completely flat on your right foot. You can see with Chella Choi, her heel's off the ground. And then as she continues to move through that golf shot, she's extended on her left side. The right heel comes fully up off the ground onto the toe of the right foot. And that allows her to get to a finishing position. So we have a completely different move to impact. So when we're done here, we're up on the toe of the right foot. We can count all the spikes in the shoe. She's on her left side. The left leg's fully extended. Hips are square. Shoulders are fully rotated. Hands are higher and clubs back in behind her. So you really need to learn how to move to a proper impact position. So your weight's on your left side, not on your right. And learning how to create that footwork through the finish, because right now we just don't have any of that footwork, and with that out to in path and then not creating that footwork, it's really influencing where you hit the ball on that club face, and it's too bad because you know what, you've got some really nice athletic ability. Your hands work really well. Your hands come back. Your hands fire. I mean, that's awesome. You turn your core. You turn your shoulders back, you fire through. You need to learn how to create proper footwork through to the finish. So when you're at the top here, when we're at the top, and you fire, you now got to start focusing on coming off your right heel, up on your toe of your right foot, get the weight on the left side. And already just by doing that, you'll hit the ball better for sure. And then, as it pertains to fine-tuning your golf swing, you need to learn how to create better wrist hinge coming back, although you do eventually get it at the top. And then you need to learn how not to come over the top and create that arm separation. If you can learn to do that, you're going to really learn how to become a really good ball striker, because you've got a lot of great characteristics with your golf swing. Again, like I said, your hands work well, your core works well. Your core works well coming through. Problem is you don't have any footwork, so you don't carry it through to the finish. And then ultimately create better hinge coming back. Learn how to bring the club down on plane. And as soon as you got that club coming down on plane with everything else that you're doing, boy, oh boy, you're really going to hit some great golf shots. So it's too bad that you're glancing the ball off the toe of the club right now, considering some of the great things that you have happening. So anyways, if at any point in time you'd like to work on any of these aspects in your golf game, certainly feel free to give me a call. I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to help you out, and you could certainly become a much better ball striker for sure. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, and you sit on the committee for any events, you're looking for a unique gift to provide to your guests, certainly feel free to touch base regarding my swing analysis services. Anyways, I hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. And hope you have a great summer, and maybe we might hear from you.